right, guys, it's 2 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and get started here. We are currently live from Philadelphia. My good friend Jan and I are here at the United Shipping meeting that has been held since Sunday. So we're going to go over doing business with Germany. Jan is from Alphonse Koster. Jan is our partner, actually. Jan and I had the good fortune last night to take both of our ownership out to dinner and celebrate 25 years of doing business together. So
yes, it was a great time.
It was a good evening, very much so. So without that, I'm going to do just a quick little intro here on Scarborough, and then we'll get started on going forward with Germany. So as you guys can see, Scarborough is a group of companies now that has continually grown. Our newest addition that we just opened this year is Scarborough Consulting. We did that business under the Scarborough International flag for a long time, and we decided as that business has continued to grow that we should make it its own brand.
Yeah.
So with that, this webinar itself is brought to you guys by Scarborough University. Scarborough University was founded to provide insight initially to our own staff, and then as it's grown, we have taken this information and put it out to the trade. So this is probably, I don't know, our 30 or 40th webinar, maybe more, and we look forward to continue to bringing you some more. With that, my name's Adam Hill. I'm the Executive Vice President at Scarborough. And like I said, with me, Jan from Alphonse Koster. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jan. If you guys want, ask your questions. They'll pop up here on my screen. And then once Jan kind of gets done with a piece of his presentation, we'll spend the last half hour or so going through questions that you guys have. So with that, Jan, please take it away.
Thank you, Adam, for the nice introduction. So if you can see here, we are facing Germany at the local place of Europe. We have roughly 82.5 million inhabitants there and are the fourth largest economy in the world. And compared to the size of the country, it's really a huge thing for Germany to be on such a high level. So you can assume that the production of the Germans are really effective. And we are looking forward to grow this economy even further. So, and compared to other places like the US, you see that the GDP is roughly a little bit under yours, but in compared to the average of the EU, we are really in front of it. That is mainly based on our export business out of Germany and of the engineering stuff and all these things. So the GDP growth rate is actually, or was last year, by 2%. As usually, we're expecting more, but sometimes you cannot turn the world around, so that's also effects from outside. And compared to the US, we are pretty close together with a 1.6%. And the unemployment rate is nearby on the same level as on the United States side. So we call it full work. With 3.6%, that's only a few people that are moving around and are unemployed on specific reasons, but we are facing really a problem in Germany there that we are running out of staff. So that's also the reason behind why we are so open-minded to get more people into the country, just because we are facing the problems there in regarding to unemployment or running out of staff for every. So that's really the case behind it. The inflation with 1.8% is also driven by the EU, because we are in a currency group with all European countries. So that's one point that Germany cannot take control over or something like this, because it's a mixture of all EU countries, especially if they have the euro as the currency. So the exports, you can see it's higher than our imports. So we are really an export-driven economy. We are looking to sell our products within the EU and also worldwide. So that's, I think, the backbone of Germany is the machinery production and the engineering behind it, not only in the car industry, also for other industry like oil industry, computers, etc., etc. So that's really a huge point in Germany, that we try to be as much effective in the production, to get everything done on a really high skilled level and present it to the world as a good and reliable product that we can export. In regards to imports, there you see we have also really high number, but we are not on the even point with on a 50-50%, which should be the best case, but that is mainly based on the fact that we import really not the high value cargo to Germany. So it's mainly raw products or food stuff and all these things. So that's barely happens that you see that machinery or something like this will be imported into Germany, because mainly we produce it on our own and export it. So that's also the reason why there's every time this gap between export and imports in our yearly analysis. So the e-commerce, that's one thing I get in touch here in the States pretty often, and it's developed slower than here than compared to the United States. So the Germans were in the first step really careful to getting more and more into the e-commerce, but now they're getting used to it, and we see the same problems like here, that shops are closing and more people are buying online, which is really nowadays a huge impact on the German market, as you have it here with Amazon Prime and all the other retailers that are going online. That's the same in Germany, and as you can see, we try to take advantage in Germany to online shopping all around the world. As you can see, we import from the United Kingdom, which is nowadays not anymore in the EU. We also getting e-commerce out of the United States and from China, because Alibaba in China, the opposite of Amazon, I would say, make their really huge deals for the people in Germany, and they are interesting to buy also out of China with e-commerce. It's not like in the States where you get it by overnight. If you buy in China, it's more mainly that they ship full containers to Germany, and then the FedEx and UPS will pick it up at a warehouse and distribute it everywhere about Germany. If you, for example, buy in the United States e-commerce articles, usually it will be go over to Germany on express services like FedEx, UPS, and so on. So the marketing, and compared to the States, we are a little bit behind you, especially with the social media. Facebook is still the biggest shareholder in this case, but Stay Friends, Google+, Twitter, etc., they are also on the climbing level, but not as much as here in the States. So there's still some, I would say that there's still some conservative people there behind it, and that we are not so open-minded for social media like other countries or culture like it in the world. So that are the benefits from the Eurozone, and that was, I think, the really big turnaround after Eastern and Western Germany get together in the 90s and the beginning of the 90s. The really huge impact started with the Euro trade zone and the Euro currency in the beginning of the 2000s, because people were fearing that they lose their currency, the Deutschmarks, and they have really not a good feeling to move to the Euro. But it turned around after 1-2 years that everybody is taking advantage of this currency, especially if you doing vacation in Europe or buying in Europe from other countries. Before you had 17, 18, 20 different currencies. Now you only have one, which make it really easy to compare products, to buy materials, to sell materials. So you have a really open market there, and that was a huge advantage. And I think Germany and France, they are both countries are most on top of that, because they have so much business within the Eurozone that it's really a big advantage for these both countries that the euro getting into the market in the early 2000s. So as you can see, our top export countries are the USA, France, because we have a really close relationship with both countries, Great Britain, the Netherlands and China, where you have to say that the Netherlands in compared to export is, if you see it statistic-wise, if we export from Germany, a lot of the cargo will be shipped out of the Netherlands. And based on the fact that the cargo are moved to the Netherlands, it will go into this statistic as an export. Also, if they're going further to India or China, Netherlands will be at the last gate where they left the EU Union. Also, that's on the import side, China, the sheep products and all these things. The Netherlands, of course, there are a lot of cargo going into the EU via the Netherlands. And then we have France, where we have a big exchange in regards to foodstuff and also technology on the high sector. The US, you can see that's mainly cars which are going back to Germany, for example, or paper or elements and all these things. And Italy is also a really strong import partner for Germany in regards to foodstuff and clothing. So there are some EU trade agreements that were finished or negotiated in the last time with Singapore, for example. So we are aiming there the entry in 2019. It's interesting because Singapore is, if you see it from our point of view, a main hub for the Asian market, where a lot of feeder vessels and all these things will be distribute all the containers out of this area. So that was every time a big thing for the EU to get the first step to Singapore as a main hub to have their open door for the Asian market. If you see with Mexico, they reached the agreement, updating deal from 2000, and then now they have finally the tax agreement in the hand. So that's something that also the German industry is seeing, that a lot of work or finishing or production take place nowadays in Mexico, and that's really a big step for the EU to enter also the Mexican market in regards to supplies and all these things. Canada, we are really close or with Canada anyway, based also of the background, if you see it with the United Kingdom and all these things. So, and the trade agreement is in place with Canada, but it's not there. You have the feeling that it's really not started so far. So that's we see it in the freight industry. There are still shipments to Canada and from Canada to the EU, but I think both parties expected more from this agreement. And it's something that should be developed in the next years. But I think everybody get the feeling in the first step that it's a reliable trade agreement and that they now can use it. But it really is on a slow move into this direction. Where Japan is really close, especially with Germany. There are a lot of Japanese companies in Germany, and also the other way around, that they have connections and strong relationships. And that's something that will happen soon. And I think that will be an advantage for Germany also to have the really high standard industry, like with all the computer things and all these things, that they have a good entry to this market, and also for Japan, for the German market. Yeah, and the last thing is the South states of the America, with Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay, and Uruguay. Germany has a strong relationship with them because there are a lot of German moved in the 50s to these countries. So there are big communities who are still speaking German in these areas. And for example, Argentina is one of our biggest importer in regards to meat. So that's a lot of meat which going back to Germany and reefer containers and all these things. So there's a really connection. In Brazil, Volkswagen has a really huge plant that is also there, if I'm right, on the first place in regards to selling cars in Brazil. So that's really a strong connection in these areas based on the history. Yeah, our German culture is one thing. So I worked at Scarborough for a while in 2012, and it was really surprising in the morning when I talked based on the time difference with Germany, and everybody was coming into the office and thinking that I was shouting at somebody, but that's a normal, typical German style, I would say. But they were really surprised each morning how you talk to another person in Germany, because it's a really hard speak and sometimes not so, it sounds not so nice if you're not used to it. But we have some, I would say, culture main point, and that is our punctuality in all kinds. You see it right from the kindergarten. It really happened, I would say, nearby never that you are too late to bring your kids to the kindergarten, also for school time and all these things. Or if you have a private appointment or something like this, you will barely see that somebody will show up late. And that is also today in the business. So we are really strict to this punctuality. If you say to a customer, we will be tomorrow morning at 8 with our truck at your warehouse, they give you a call at 8.1 and question where's the car, because that's really not our deal. We try to be every time on point in this case. And that makes also the next step, the goal orientated, that you see every time on the long term, the goal, what you will reach with the customer on your private level, with your family. So you're really not living the day, you are looking every time forward to see the future and what will be the goal afterwards. So, and it's all connected together. If you see with the strict regards and rules and laws, best example is if you stay at night at the traffic in Germany, and for example, it's a big area like Munich, Hamburg, Frankfurt, where also a lot of foreign people are there for holidays or something like this. Everybody will cross the street at midnight because no car is there. Also, if the light is on red, only the German will wait until it's green. So that's really, you can see who's German and who's not. And the business relationship in this case is that you have in North Germany, based on the Hanseatic trade history that we have with back in the days with the sailors and all the traders that were located in this range, that a handshake really counts. So when I did my first contract with my company, Alfons Köster, the owner of the company came to me and say, you didn't need any agreement signed or something like this. Here's my handshake and that counts. You will get the contracts in the next weeks. And that's really, if you are on a level, if you are there in business, handshake counts in North Germany. That's really something you can rely on. And in compared to the South Germany, because there's a bigger influence of Italy and France and all these areas, they are a little bit different in this kind. They like it written and signed. But that is also one thing in South Germany. They are really price sensitive because these areas, they are counting on each coin. So that's really something that they are up to. They are just looking for the best price. They expect every time a good service. So if you say you're getting a better service if you pay more, they doesn't care. Because they're expecting the service and the lowest price. And that make it really hard in this area there to negotiate and to win business and all these things. But if you are at the point and win the business and you show the performance, then you will have friends for lifetimes, I would say. That's also with meetings. Usually all meetings in Germany are really driven by the agenda behind it. So everybody is goal orientated and try to make it as quick as possible to come to the point, what is the deal, so now we can finish it. And the dress code, as you can see, in North Germany, we're really strict, so more straight business clothes. You will see a lot of people in suits, with suits and ties and all these things. In South Germany, it's a little bit casual, more orientated. So that's if I go on a sales tour in South Germany, usually it is some total different worlds than North Germany. So here can you see our industry sectors. It's really interesting because you see in the northern part around Hamburg where the Hanseatic trade is in place and really state of the art. That this is mainly the area where the shipping, the direct physical shipping happens. So on the range Hamburg and Bremerhaven, you will have the two of the biggest ports of Germany with all kinds of vessels and all kinds of destinations. Around these areas, you have something like it's more agriculture orientated, so a lot of milk farms, chicken farms, and all these things. And if you're going further south, you see Hanover, where the big Volkswagen plant is located. And I think Volkswagen is at the moment the top-selling car brand worldwide. I think they are pretty close to Toyota or maybe a little bit further, I say. But that's really the area where Volkswagen is located, Hanover, and also the suppliers around. And further, the suppliers of the machinery for the production places. So it's really a bounded up area in this case. Then you have on the left-hand side, Essen and Dortmund, Düsseldorf and Cologne. That's a base back on the days. That's a steel area where a lot of mining and steel production happen. So these areas are more for the heavy industries. Nowadays, they are also going a little bit into the IT direction, based on the fact that coal mining, etc., is really on a falling market or falling way at the moment in Germany. And then you have on the right-hand side Leipzig, where also production plants for Porsche, for example, are located. And you have there also a chemical industry, which is a huge factor in this area. Then you have a little bit south of Hanover, in the middle of Germany, I would say Frankfurt, which is also one of the main airports in Europe. A lot of freight and traffic going out of Frankfurt and in. You have of the north side, Frankfurt to the Cologne area located the chemical industry, which is a really huge part in this area. And around Frankfurt, in the wider case there you have the airport industry located, not Airbus or something like this, because all the production places for the tractors, for the airport tractors, for the airport equipment and all these things. So they are really close together with this area. And then if you're going south to Stuttgart, Augsburg, and Munich, this is really the area where most of the machinery production places are located in Germany. Also in combination with the biggest car brands down there, like Mercedes in Stuttgart and Porsche in Stuttgart, and BMW and Audi, which are more on the Munich side. So that's really interesting that based on the history, also these areas are really connected to machinery production companies, which are supporting this car brands. So they are really close together in this area. And then you have a little bit to Nuremberg, a little bit north of Munich. There's also a big agriculture industry with like tractors and all these things. So harvesting machines and all these things will happen. And around Stuttgart, you only have also have the big crane production places for like Lipa and Wolfgram and all these things. And it's funny that they are not more located on the seaside, because usually you will say, oh, okay, I'm looking for the best possibility to move my cargo or my brand or my item out of the country. But they are, based on the history, are really located in their historical area. So it's easier for them if they are more located to the coast, but
Well, and you talked earlier about southern Germany and how they're more price sensitive. And as any of us know, the farther away from a port that we get, the more expensive things become. So,
yes, you're right.
So maybe they should flip flop.
Yeah. Well, maybe a good idea for everybody. So yeah, the business opportunities, that's definitely something that is an opportunity for both sides, equal if you export or importing. So life science and bioscience, it's something that is really on the market at the moment in Germany, because everybody is trying to get much more healthier and all these things at the moment. You're looking just for the right food, organic food, and all these things, and then this in combination with fitness trainings and all these things. So that's really a huge market in Germany at the moment. Medical equipment, as usual, in Germany, we have a free medical insurance, so everybody is insured. And that bring also the hospitals and all these places in a really good mood, that they get the money, and everybody who has anything can go to the doctor or to the hospital, and they are covered with the government health insurance. That make it interesting, definitely, for these medical equipment and devices, because there's a huge demand on it based on the free health insurance that you have. The food industry, as I mentioned before, it's combined also with the lifestyle. So it's really, I would say, in the last 5 years, 7, 8 years, that more and more Germans are looking for quality or high quality food, which has an organic background, and in the best case, local production or something like this, that you also have a short way to the retail store, what will not happen in all cases. So that's something that we are working on. So agriculture equipment and services is combined with these foods, because a few years ago it was the fact if you are bigger, better, you are much more productive. Nowadays they are looking more for the small niche products, that you have organic, healthy food and all these things. So also the agriculture products getting more and more adapted to this lifestyle of the farming. So aircraft and parts is a really huge thing. This is one industry which is located in Hamburg, because in Hamburg is the second largest factory of Airbus. And this is really interesting to see all the big planes going around the city and all these things, and also the suppliers and all the guys that have to bring the stuff up there. So it's really interesting to see. The automotive sector is, like every time Germany, we are really proud of our cars and of our Autobahn. So that makes it interesting, definitely. It's not like in the States, you can tune your car like you want. So you can change the light and have the down light in blue and all these things that are all things that are not allowed in Germany. So you have to be really strict to the rules, and there's not any chance that you can tune your car like you want. So there are strict rules, and every part has to be approved by authority of Germany, that it is really safe for the traffic. So it makes it a little bit more complicated to get these things into the country. But if you have the interesting product and it works, there's really a high demand on it, because they like to have really special car and all these things. Chemicals is the thing that the big companies like Bayer and BASF, which are also located there, that going back and forth, they're buying raw materials, they send it out to the world. So that's really a huge factor in Germany. And the IT business, that's something I would say that the States are there a little bit further than we, because we are there more on the safe side and looking, if we do the IT step, we are not so open-minded like other cultures, I would say, in regards to new inventation in the IT sector. So yeah, new relations. If you see the Chamber of Commerce, that's really one big thing in Germany. So if a supplier in Germany has any question in regards to doing business all over the world, they can go to the local Chamber of Commerce and question what boundaries, what problems we are facing if we ship something to Singapore, to the United States, or to Africa. Because the Chamber of Commerce is really supporting the suppliers or the shipper on the German side to get into the international business. So they have workshops, they train your staff and all these things so that the whole office know what's going on and what they can do better in this case. And below you see some of the trade shows which are located in Germany. The inter-airport is really one thing that is really impressive. If you are there, you see a lot of airplanes and also of airport equipment, which will be shipped out of Germany to all airports all over the world. The wind energy in Hamburg is one of the, I think it is the largest wind energy fair in the world. This is based on the fact that Germany quit after Fukushima the nuclear power plants. So we are now in the mood to shut down each nuclear power plant, and I think the deadline is 2025. Then Germany will not have anymore any nuclear power plant, and we are starting since years to build up the wind energy sector. Not only onshore, also offshore. So you will see huge wind energy parks in the oceans in front of Germany. The CeBIT, that's the IT fair in Germany. It's really one of a kind. Everybody wants to have the newest, biggest TV, PC, laptop, etc. So that's a really huge fair there. And the Fruit Logistica is a fair which is specialized on vegetables and fruits and the logistic process behind it. So that's an interesting place if you see the trader for bananas and all these things together with the carriers who are carrying these products and the freight forwarders, which are all at this fair, which make it a really one-of-a-kind thing. And below there's a resource. If you have there you can gain some further information in this case.
Yeah, export.gov is a U.S.
I know.
It's a U.S. site, and so obviously we're talking about Germany today, but there are a lot of other countries that are on there that exporters in the U.S. or even around the world can go to and look.
So that's our ocean ports. So we have on the left-hand side Hamburg and on the right-hand side Bremerhaven. If you see it on our country, it's the other way around. But Hamburg is one of the largest ports in the world. We were in the top 10. I think now we are on the 10th place worldwide. There's only one port in the EU which is in front of us, and that is Rotterdam. And besides that, you're only facing the main Asian ports like Hong Kong, Singapore, and all these places. And on the other side, you have Bremerhaven with Bremen. Bremerhaven and Bremen is one small state in Germany, and they are not direct connected to each other, but they are working as one state. And below you see Wilhelmshaven, Bremen, Brake, Cuxhaven, Leer. These are really specialized small ports. There's attention that Wilhelmshaven or better Cuxhaven, that will be this area, will be the place to be for the next 20, 30 years, because they have a deep water port there. We also have it in Hamburg and Bremerhaven, but the potential in this area with Wilhelmshaven and Cuxhaven is much more bigger than in Hamburg or Bremerhaven. But because based on the history, Hamburg is really packed. Hamburg is a port which is direct in the city. So you can see you go shopping on the north side of the River Elbe and you see the big vessels of 350 meters right in front of you crossing the Elbe to the port. So that's there will be some deadline in the near future where they not can expand anymore. And for the US, it should be really interesting. The Bremerhaven is based on the history, the US port for Germany. So Hamburg is mainly doing ex and import for Far East and all other countries. And Bremerhaven is highly specialized on im and export for the US trade.
Mm-hmm.
So it's based on the fact that back in the days, the vessels for the old world to the new world were leaving Bremerhaven and not Hamburg. So these are the airports. As I told you, Frankfurt, that's the largest airport in Germany. And well, I would say 15, 20 years ago, Frankfurt already facing the problem that the growth could not be as fast as they wanted. And Munich saw there really a good step for them to get into this business too.
Mm-hmm.
So Munich is the second largest airport in Germany, and it's also based on the areas where the production, etc., happen. These are both the main airports for export and import, and also for traveling if you're going overseas or on long distance hauls. Cologne and Bonn is is a airport which is based on the history of Germany, that Bonn was the capital before Berlin, a place where somebody implemented an airport, but it's so close to Frankfurt that there's really no big demand to use this airport anymore. Hahn is an airport which is also near the Frankfurt area, but this is really a Frankfurt for the airport for the heavy stuff. Like if you're getting a charter Antonov or something like this, usually they will bring it into Hahn and not to Frankfurt, because for Frankfurt it's really a pain to handle such a big airplane with all the traffic that's going on. So they bring it to Hahn, and Hahn it's 30-40 minutes away from Frankfurt. Okay. And then you have Leipzig, and Leipzig is the main hub for the FedEx and DHLs and all these things. Yeah, for the courier service.
Yeah, for the couriers.
Yeah, popular Incoterms to ship from the US to Germany is mainly on CFR basis or CIF. It depends if you have insurance or not, or how you handle it this way. That's I would say really the biggest Incoterm both that are used for shipments to Germany, because DAP, which is also here highlighted, is more that you are, from the US point of view, responsible also for the on-carriage on the German side or on the European side, which make it sometimes a little bit tricky because you are so far away and you are not aware what's going on in this area. So if you have a reliable partner, it should be no big deal, but otherwise it could be a pain for you.
Yeah, we always, anytime that we have any export customer that asks us, we always tell them that they have to ship on C terms. That way they get it to the port and then let somebody in the local country handle customs, handle the on carriage.
Yeah, you are definitely right, because they're usually based on the infrastructure of Germany and the history and all the transport sectors and all the possibilities that we have. DAP is no big deal to sell it on the US market. But, as I told you, the Germans are really strict and looking for the point. So if you get a call in the morning and they question for the container, it's easier if you sell it on the C basis.
Right, instead of the D terms.
Yes, that's for sure. So popular ships to US from Germany is X-Works. If you buy it here from the US side, that you pay everything on your own. And I think we miss it, it's the D terms. Because the D terms are usually how the German like to sell their stuff to the US market. I would say 90%.
But if it's but you see a lot on the U.S. side that if the U.S. buyer is buying, a lot of times they buy X-Works.
If we sell from Germany, it will be definitely on D base. But if a U.S. guy is buying, then it will be X-Works. Because I know it by heart, the U.S. guys love to have some control about everything in
So does the German guy.
Yes. So now we are with the value-added taxes. We call it Mehrwertsteuer in Germany. This is a huge point. Each product that you buy in Germany, there are a few exemptions like newspapers or milk or butter. But besides that, each product that you buy in Germany will have 19% VAT on it. So this 19% is for the for our government system, for all insurance and all these
but
things.
But pretty much everything you buy has that 19%.
Yes. There's
it doesn't matter if I buy paper at the store or if I buy food. Does food have that?
Food have that too. There are only a few exemptions, like you mentioned, like butter and milk products. So that the agriculture sector, which are located in the area, are a little bit supported. That's the reason why there's only 7%, and newspaper 7%. But besides that, each product will have 19% on top of it.
But besides like the milk and the butter, are there any exemptions or, so if I'm selling to my customer in Germany and, is there a way that customer doesn't have to pay VAT, or is it pretty much?
The customer will have to pay it anyway. He will, if he get a product from the US, he will finalize, merchandise, anything with this product and bring it into the EU market or into the German market. He has to add these 19%.
Okay, so no matter what, he's paying the 19%. Sorry, keep going.
No, but that's and the VAT or the Mehrwertsteuer is paid by the German consignee. So that's something nobody in the US have to take care of. If you sell on DDP, that's only tariffs, duties, taxes, etc. These or tariffs and duties. The taxes, the VAT, that's something the final consignee has to deal with.
Even on DDP terms, even on completely delivered terms, consignee still pays the VAT.
Yes, that's something nobody from outside getting involved into.
So thanks, Jan, for going over that. We have about, 15, 20 minutes left here, and we have some questions coming in. So let's talk about shipping some stuff to Germany, right?
Yeah.
So in the US, customs is a big deal. There's a lot of paperwork involved.
Yeah.
What does that process look like in Germany? Is it similar to the US? Is German customs as strict as we are in the US?
They are on the same level in regards to how strict they handle it. The system in Germany or in Europe is also a harmonized system. So that usually it's really no big deal to get the customs clearance done. So that's really a system. You put in your numbers like you do it in the US. You put in each line for each S code. You get the approval by the authority, and then the customs clearance is done.
How long does that usually take? Because in the US, since we've moved into ACE, when we submit a customs entry, usually within 5 minutes, I have my response back. I mean, usually it's 5 seconds, but I have a response back that says, yes, this cargo is allowed to come into the United States, or no, it's not. Is the system that fast?
That's the same fast. The only exception is some physical clearance, like that the customs authority want to see the cargo.
Right.
They give you a hold like they do it on the US side. They open up the container, they open up the box, and they have a look into it. If it happened in the port, so there are two options how you can do it in Germany. If it happened in the port, usually the guys from the customs are there in 24 hours. So they're running back and forth between the port. It depends sometimes a little bit on the warehouse, how much they are backed up, if they have a time frame available. But usually if you're going in via Hamburg or Bremerhaven, it's 24 hours, then they have the physical inspection done and everything is correct, and you get the approval and you can proceed.
I think we in the US would like it if customs would do an exam within 24 hours every time that one.
Yeah, but it's based on the fact that the customs authorities, which are specialized or which are handling this, are direct located in the ports.
Okay.
So that's, for example, in Hamburg, the customs authority for cane shipments is 2 minutes by foot from our office, and these guys need maximum 10 minutes to go to the warehouse by car.
Okay.
So it's really a quick turnaround in this case, and Bremerhaven is nearby the same. So and you can do something else further, but that's more if you are selling on CFR basis and or C basis, and the final consignee will do the clearance. Because if the final consignee is located in Stuttgart or Munich or something like this, we will arrange the on carriage, and they have a strong customer or customs authority direct on the door or locally. We can bring it as a bonded shipment to this customs authority at the final destination, and they do the clearance right at that place. Sometimes it's if you have a lot of lines for the HS codes and all these things, or they are really good connected with the customs, with the local customs authority, our customer requesting that we bring it down on T1 or bonded, and then they do the customs clearance on their own in the inland.
Okay. So are there, so in, you know, in the, kind of staying on the customs clearance line, in the US, we have FDA, USDA, you know, ATF, Fish and Wildlife. Does Germany have similar type?
Yeah, they have similar types. So that's also, if you bring in food stuff and all these things, that you get the Veterinarian Authority involved into it. But it's really nearby the same like in the US. So if you have food stuff and it needs to be physical inspected, the veterinarian authorities, they are located in Hamburg. It's direct in the port. So if you run out of the terminal, your truck will stop at this authority. Then it depends how long the line is, but usually I would say 20 to 30 minutes, and the inspection is done. They take it, they take a note or they take a proof of it. They seal the container, and you can do the on carriage.
Okay. So flipping gears on the customs side, is there customs clearance out of Germany? Is there any process that cargo has to go through to leave the country? Because obviously here in the US, we have the AES filing that, you know, based on certain criteria, we have to send the AES. So does that exist, or something like that exist in Germany as well?
No, based on the European Union, if you do the clearance in Germany and your final consignee is located in Italy, what could happen that Germany will be the better option because of shorter transit time or something like this. We can do the clearance on your behalf of US shipper in Hamburg, for example, or Bremerhaven, and then it's free for trade within the EU zone. So we can bring it from Bremerhaven to Italy, and we will cross the border of Austria and of Italy, but it's a free zone, so there's nothing else involved in this case.
What if you're shipping from Germany straight out of Hamburg to the United States? Is there any export customs clearance required in that scenario?
Yeah, we have to, if we're shipping out of Germany to the US, we have to do the export customs clearance, which is a little bit the same like in the States. So you get a piece of paper, we can create it, or the shipper can create it on his own. It depends how good his staff is skilled and how good are they connect to the Chamber of Commerce or something like this. But they create this paper. This is a paper which is workable for all export ports within the EU. You gave them the number, for example, in Hamburg, you type in the number of the paper, and usually you get approval in 2 to 3 minutes. That's ready for export.
Okay.
And then you get a physical release as soon as this cargo arrived in the port. So if they have a gate in at the terminal, you see that this physical export is released and everything is clear for export.
Okay. Well, you kind of mentioned, you know, cargo coming into Germany and then dispersing, going to Italy, going to France. You know, is there, you know, talk through some of that. How long does that process take? Does it, you know, do you see advantages to shipping into Germany and then distributing it out of Germany to Italy? Or a place like that?
It really depends. If you have a wide variety of final consignees, we do it for some customers that we are looking. For example, we had requests out of Japan, and they have spare parts which they will bring to Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And they have final consignee located in France, in Switzerland, in Hungary, in Italy, in Poland. So we are looking where's the best location for the warehousing of this goods. So we make the entry in Hamburg or Bremerhaven, bring it to the warehouse, which we found out is the best place between Stuttgart and Munich. There we drop the container, do the warehousing, and then the final consignee can order, and equal which direction you go, you have every time the shortage on carriage.
Right.
So let's make it more attractive for them and faster to get the goods by pick and pack.
What is some of that transit time? Because, from coast to coast in the United States, if you're going truck, you're no more than 5 days. Is there anywhere, how much of Europe do you cover in 2 or 3 days?
Whole Europe.
Oh, yeah, right. So
no, it's really fast. If you compare Munich to Bremerhaven, for example, if you go by train, it's a one-night jump, we call it. If you have a customer which is located in the Munich area, the container came in Bremerhaven, is cleared, is ready to go for the on-carriage. It will be stowed on the train. It will be on the next morning in Munich, and maybe 1 day later it will be delivered by truck to the final consignee.
Okay. So quick.
Yeah, that's really not a big deal. And the trains are running back and forth, so there are, I think, at the moment 7 to 8 trains per night which are going out from Munich and also the other direction. And these are with all areas in Germany.
Does most of so if we're leaving Germany to go to Italy, to go to another EU country, does most of that travel by train or by truck?
No, if you do it in small portion, it will be definitely by truck.
Okay.
But there are also train connections that you can bring stuff in from German port to Munich. There's another train connection to Italy that you can bring it down to Italy. But that's every time a little bit more tricky in regards that you don't can so much put pressure on the guys in Italy if it's on the train. So if you have something in a hurry, it would be better to do it by truck, because the train operators in Italy could be a little bit slower as it is in Germany, for example.
Okay. From a documentation perspective, obviously, if you're importing into the U.S., commercial invoice, packing list, bill of lading, is it the same?
That's the same. Yeah, that's the same.
Is there anything specific? So, like, I know in Mexico, there's some customers that require like the importer's IRS number on there. So is there anything specific on that documentation?
No, there's nothing specific what you need there in the first step.
Okay.
One thing I didn't mention, the country Switzerland, which is direct located in the middle of Europe. If you have some shipments to this country, it's a little bit different, because Switzerland is not an EU member. That means for each port, it's equal if you're going in via France, via Spain, via Italy, or via Germany to Switzerland. It will be a bonded transport to Switzerland.
And then cleared in Switzerland.
Yeah, because it's like a foreign country.
Right. Here in the U.S., we just went through the electronic logs.
Yeah.
So trucking's backed up. We have a truck driver shortage. So that backs it up some more. Are you facing that in Germany as well? Are you seeing some of the same?
The electric log system we implement 11 years ago, so I know your problems by heart.
Okay. So if you know our problems, how long until we get out of our problems? Or are you still in yours?
No, it really took, I would say, up to 2 years till they fix the log problem, or till they're getting used to it. Because usually it was dealt like here in the States, that the truck driver was really independent. He can do whatever he wanted. He was a little bit flexible, more on this side and on that side.
He might have been a little lenient with his logs.
Yes. And that works perfect. And then we get the electrical device inside the trucks like you do here. And it was really the same situation like on the US side. So that's it took really up to 2 years till they came to the point where it's run on a mood like before. So that's really was an impact like here, but we are facing in Germany, especially based on the economy, that we are exporting so much at the moment and that the order books are so full. We are facing a gap of 45,000 truckers, which could be helpful for the business.
Yes, yeah, we.
Yeah, you have the same.
I was talking to a carrier the other day that has 1,000 trucks, and at any given time they have 200 to 300 of those sitting idle.
Yeah.
Because they don't have drivers.
Yeah.
And that's 20 to 30%. That's a big number.
Yeah. Luckily, we have the advantage in the EU that if you are a EU member country, you can move free within the EU as a person. So there are still drivers available in the eastern part of Europe, which now getting to Germany or are already working in Germany. But that's a slow shift, and we are facing there also the problem that these countries are running out of truckers. So that's we just move it further east.
Okay. Is there any holiday like the Chinese New Year, right? Drastically affects all of the business coming out of China. Does Germany have any holiday like that, or
no? Not the public holidays, or not like a Chinese New Year where we close down for 3 weeks. So we have nearby the same holidays, not on the dates, but on the number of holidays like you here in the States. So the biggest part is definitely the Christmas time, because the customer have to close the books for the end of the year. They try to move out everything as fast as possible until end of the year, and they make it really a hard time. So I would say that beginning of or ending of November, mid of November till end of the year, that's every time the rush time in Germany. Because everybody wants to have everything in his books, and that is out of the way for this year. So that's the main reason there.
Okay. We have another question here. Is, do you pay VAT on something that's being returned for repair?
No.
No.
That's this way. So if you have something like a guarantee one or something like this on, and your supplier say, okay, I will fix the problem, you will bring it into Germany, or it depends on the mode who is paying the freight and all these things, but you will bring it into Germany, and then the customs authority decided if they need a bond or not for this one. So it's a temporary import. The customs authority decided if must be a bond in place or not. It's really hard to say in advance. You can check it. But we are also facing the problem from time to time that the customs guys say, okay, no, with this high value, and I don't know what they will fix to the machine or something like this, that they need a bond there in place. But is it a guarantee thing, then the supplier has to take care of it anyway. But if you send it over for preparation or fine-tuning or something like this for temporary import, no VAT, yeah.
Okay, no, that makes a lot of sense. We're coming up here I'm here on the end, so maybe kind of the last question that we will answer here live, and then we will make sure we get an answer to everybody is, what's your biggest advice if I'm trying to sell my product into Germany?
Yeah.
What is there one, maybe three things that you think are key for U.S. companies to know and to understand about really selling into that market? I mean, obviously we talked about the Southern Germany and how focused on price they were, but is there anything else that you would say is really key to getting people's products into the German market?
You have to see it this way. The Germans or the EU and the Germans are looking every time to the States. So if you have here a new product in place and it's a big thing on your market here, I give you 100% guarantee after 1 year it will happen in the EU or Germany too.
Okay.
And if you are there the first one and you present it in the right way, it should be a door opener, definitely.
Okay.
So that's bring you ahead of this, and definitely.
Well, thank you, Jan. I appreciate the time that you spent with us today talking about doing business here in Germany. Those of you who have asked questions and they didn't get answered live, we will make sure you do get a response via email. This will also be posted on Scarborough's YouTube channel. It should be out here in the next few days. So with that, thanks again, Jan, and thanks
Thank you,
everyone
Adam.
for attending.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.